Hello and welcome to Laurice's Kitchen. It's more survival food with this MRE Maple Walnut Cake. Now, unlike the cherry nut cake, I don't have a recipe for this from Natick Labs. This particular cake recipe is adapted directly from a Southern Living maple walnut cake. And after making the cake, I found out that much of its sweetness comes from the icing, which we just can't do in MRE cake packaging. So I had to figure out how to get the sweeteners, namely maple syrup, from the icing into the cake. We're also going to need a shelf-stable fat, so I've replaced the butter with high-ratio shortening and imitation butter flavor. Let's see what else we're going to need. Before we get started in on the batter, I've got my oven preheated to 325 degrees and I do have the convection oven on. I've tried it both ways and the convection oven just works better. I have a 9 by 13 inch cake pan that I've coated with nonstick cooking spray, covered with parchment paper, and then coated that with nonstick cooking spray. Now this is not anywhere near as sticky as that cherry nut cake was. Like all good cake recipes, we're going to start by creaming our fats with our sugar. This is a half cup of high ratio shortening. And after trying several combinations of sweeteners, I've come up with a 1/4 cup of sugar, a 1/4 cup of agave, and a whole cup of maple syrup. Most of this maple syrup was in the icing. We're going to put all this in the bowl and cream it until it's light and fluffy. Next, we're going to add 2 large eggs, one at a time, with the mixer on low. Once they're incorporated, we're going to turn this back up to high. Next in goes our butter flavor, vanilla, cinnamon, baking powder and baking soda, and salt. Next up, I have 2½ cups of all-purpose flour and a 1/2 cup of water. We're going to add these in alternately, starting with the flour, then the water, flour, water, and ending with flour. We just want to mix these on low until it's just incorporated. We don't want to overmix this flour. Lastly, we're just going to mix in 1 cup of chopped walnuts. We don't want to overwork this batter. pre-treated pan, then in that 325-degree oven for 30 minutes. Okay, we need to get this out of this pan because we don't want it to cook anymore. And just so I don't tempt fate, I'm going to run this along the edge here just to loosen the cake if I need to. Okay, and again with the parchment paper. Okay, just like our other MRE cake, we're going to have to cut the crusts off and then cut this up to package. For this particular cake, it works better in 6 slices rather than 8. Again, don't throw away the crusts. Our food saver bags this time are a little over 6 inches long. I've sealed the bottoms and now I'm going to place the cakes in here. And again, we want to try to get them in as square as possible. Like our other MRE cakes, when we vacuum seal this, we are going to have to hold the sides and the bottom out, otherwise it'll just crush together. This cake is actually very soft. Whatever you do, don't throw these crusts away. They're delicious. Robert Evans suggested we smear cream cheese on them. I'm in agreement with him. Now, like the other MRE cakes, these aren't going to last forever. You've got about a week to eat them safely at room temperature. Otherwise, just toss them in the freezer. Now, I actually think they taste better if you allow them to age for 1 day before opening them. But since this is a video, we're going to open them right now. Okay, nice and compressed and dense. I love this cake.